Welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of congregational humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is firstunitarian.org. Thank you for joining us.
There it is. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Society. We have a lot going on this morning, but I did want to take a quick moment to introduce our guest musicians today. This is a quartet called Tony Wolf's Dream Wedding, and it is a brainchild of our drummer, Danny Choma. We've been playing music together for a while and took a break. For a little while, Danny went to law school, and now we're back. Hey. And we have three tunes that are going to intersect with kind of climate justice in a little bit of a way. The first one is called What Is This That Has Conquered Love? All these tunes are by Danny Choma. And Danny has really wonderful long stories to go with these, but in the interest of time, we're going to condense it down to a really brief, and then come see us live and you can hear Danny's wonderful storytelling about each of these. So that one is, I don't know what that one's about. What's that one about? Like ice skating with Charlie Brown. Okay, and then the second one, the People's Park for Argo Adams. Danny has a really amazing story about this man in St. Paul who basically dropped a huge amount of garbage was dropped near his property, and he decided to turn it into a park for the people. And so he made this enormous sculptures out of all this garbage as a way to kind of like protest and also celebrate people. And it's a beautiful story. And so that's the People's Park for Argo Adams in the middle, and at the end there's a song called Sheldon Brown, and that is a tribute to this incredible bike mechanic who essentially canonized all of the repair needs for this particular kind of steel frame bikes from Taiwan in like the 70s and 80s, and so contributed to a lot of people not needing to buy cars and bike more and more and more. So thanks to Sheldon Brown, thanks to Danny for writing all these tunes, and we have Evan Beerer on the tenor saxophone, hey, and Nicholas Gaudet on the upright bass, and Danny Choma on the drums. And we're going to start with What Is That? What is this that has conquered love?
Thank you so much, and welcome to First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis on this bright and sunny Sunday near the end of January 2025. Welcome to each of you, whoever you are, wherever you are, however you identify, whoever you love, whatever it is that's breaking your heart right now, however tired or energized you feel, however hopeful or discouraged, whether present with us in body in this space or present with us online, your being here helps to create the us that is FUS. As we gather, let us attend to the need to walk humbly upon this land, this traditional land of the Dakota Oyate, and in particular the Wapatuka tribe, who still call this place home. May we live in gratitude for the myriad ways that they have stewarded this land for time immemorial. And may we express that gratitude in kind by caring for the earth and all her creatures, which is exactly what this morning's assembly is all about, caring for our earth. First Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. My name is Reverend Yulin Stoneberg. I'm your interim minister here for a time to support you as you turn a page in the story of your collective lives. This morning, we're privileged to share this time and space with our whole community, all ages, and to be able to hear from two climate activists who will share their thoughts on the difference we can make. And it's my great pleasure to lead today's assembly along with our Climate Action Team and Kathryn Jordan and our Education Director Zola Rosenfeld, who will be moderating the discussion. And we're supported by our guest musicians, as you just heard, Tony Wolfstream Wedding, as well as by some of our ethical explorers, and Adele and Karen, and as always, our Crackerjack media team. Thank you. We're so fortunate and so grateful. As you've just heard, today is our monthly multi-generational assembly with participation from our ethical explorers. And as always, families are invited to use our childcare services and or the multi-generational space that's over by the windows and in front of the tech booth. We are a multi-generational community and all ages are always welcome here in the Assembly Hall. I do want to acknowledge that as of late, assemblies have been running a bit longer than some of you are used to. And with so much to share and contemplate together, I do think it's really important to take the time needed. This is also an opportunity, I think, when things change, to become aware of how you as a congregation manage that. At the same time, we need to respect the great contributions and service of our kitchen staff and volunteers and the timing for our other programming. And I know you all have internal clocks as well. So just know that we are targeting 70-minute assemblies and that I fully expect you to take care of your own needs, meaning if you need to leave this room before it wraps up to get food or for any other reason, that's completely up to you. For all of us, your body, your choice. So now I invite you, whoever you are, wherever you are, including those online, to take a moment to welcome the morning, to greet those around you, or to get up and get a teal songbook if you want one and didn't pick one up yet. So just a moment to greet one another. Well, I love that you love making connections with one another. And now I invite you to take a deep breath and just settle into this time and space and to center yourself. Today's opening words were written by Lynn Harrison. Committed to respond to the call of a wounded world, we join together this day with loving hearts, hands, and minds embracing the interconnected web of water and air and earth. We will light a fire of sustaining hope, ever bright with love and justice. May we bring forth this day, new wisdom, new strength, new courage to create a new world, not of wealth, but of well-being, a world of new peace and abundance for all. And as we give thanks for this earth, our shared and singular home, may we dedicate ourselves to its ongoing care, rising to the calls deep within us and all around us. May we respond today and always with courage and with love. So come, let us join in imagining ways in which we can commit ourselves to respond to the call of a wounded world. So let's light that fire. I think is Sam here? Yep, Sam's going to do that. And as Sam does so, let's speak together the words on the screen, which articulate our shared Unitarian Universalist value of interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. So our chalice is lit, and let's now read our congregational covenant together. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. So how about we sing together? I hope many of you are familiar with this sweet song, This Pretty Planet by Tom Chapin. It's a canon or a round. So let's first familiarize ourselves with the tune, and then we'll break into three parts that Tim and I and Mike are going to lead. So I invite you to rise in body and or spirit, and we're going to sing it through twice and then sing it through in parts 2 more times. So here comes Tim. This pretty planet spinning through space, your garden, your harbor, your holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giants spin us around, all through the night, safe till the morning light. This pretty planet spinning through space, your garden.
Hello, everyone. Testing. All right. Good morning. Here, guys, you can sit down for a second. I am happy to see us all. Let me try and lay this down flat. There we go. My name is Zola Rosenfeld. I think I've met probably most of you by now, but hello. And these are some of our ethical explorers. Today we have Mario and we have Everett. So in Ethical Explorers, every month we're exploring different humanist values and different UU values through the lens of different performing artists, literary artists, and visual artists, some that I find and some that the kids get to pick. And every month we also update the rotating gallery of the work that the kids create, which is found right outside the wall lining this breezeway. So for this month, our theme was our humanist themes of peace and social justice, with the UU theme of story. And the artists we learned about were the photographer Lala Sadie and the kids' choices of the musicians The Living Tombstones and Taylor Swift. So we got to make a lot of cool stuff, including some collages, but all sorts of different art about telling our story, breaking stereotypes, and how that can uplift peace and social justice. So I have one piece that I'm going to share from one of our E2 emissaries that isn't here. But without further ado, I'm going to let our E2 emissaries give you a little explanation. Do you want, I'll hold your art for you. Do you want me to?
I don't know how I made this, but I just made it up.
What colors you use and how you use.
I don't really know. I don't know.
Pretty incredible stuff, I would think. Right? Thank you for sharing. I can hold it for you if you want.
So I made the tower, and like if you pull out the bottom one, it pulls out everything else.
All right. And I'm going to ask our help from our learners to help me hold this. This is a long one. Perfect. So let me hold it still so we can hopefully get a good shot in. We all got to make different collages. Some of you may have been helping with giving me magazines and newspapers, and you can see where some of your contributions have led. So this is one that one of our learners made about her story of kind of what she wanted the world to look like. So you can see she found this great sharing, justice and peace, truth or the consequences, all these impactful phrases that mean a lot when we're thinking about how they are interpreted in our modern day world and justice system. And you can see just the incredible variety of beautiful plants and color that she created as her vision of what the world would be like. So thank you guys very much. I really encourage you to chat with our E-Squared learners about the work they're making. It can be really scary sharing on stage with everyone, but they're all doing really, really cool stuff, and you can see it in every conversation we have, every interaction, in the art we display, and it's really exciting stuff. Thank you all for taking the time to listen.
First Unitarian is a congregational humanist community. We're here for each other, our neighbors, and our planet. And one manifestation of this is our caring team. If at any time there's something happening in your life that you'd like to share with our team or with this community, please send a note to Joyce and Concerns at firstunitarian.org. The email address is on the screen. You can also do this by using the contact form on our website. After the assembly, you're invited to stop by the card basket downstairs and send a note to folks who are unable to attend. or to people we mentioned earlier this month. We've not received any specific joys or concerns to share this morning, and yet I know we're all aware of those who need a little extra support or affirmation. That we may stay in touch with our humanity, remind ourselves of the value of a moment of stillness, and remember those who are suffering, especially today, all of those whose very existence in the current administration is targeting. Let's take some time in silence to reflect on the human experience, the joys, sorrows, and milestones in our lives, in the lives of those we love, and in the lives of all beings everywhere. May all be safe, happy, and well.
Hello again, everybody. So I'm back with our E2 emissary, one of them today, Mario, and we have this book that is a children's book, but I think it's something that we can all reflect on as being relevant to us, about climate justice. Sorry, let me just move this over, buddy. So I'll turn do you want to hold this? And then I'll turn the pages so you can see the pictures too. So Mario is going to help us read this aloud. And we're going to do something a little different today, which is we are going to read this in Spanish and English. So I am going to read the full English page after Mario reads the abbreviated Spanish translation of it. So for any multilingual folks in here, you'll get to hear it twice. For everyone else, enjoy it the once. So we are going to get it projected on the screen. And we're going to pass. You have your mic, buddy? You want to test it? Is it on? It's not on. That's okay. We can do the handheld mic. We'll pass it. Okay. No worries. So the book is called Wangari's Trees of Peace, A True Story from Africa by Jeanette Winter. The foreword is, "The earth was naked. For me, the mission was to try and cover it with green." All right, buddy. My turn.
De pequeña Wangari vive debajo de los árboles en la montaña Kenia de África.
Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. Turn the page. All right, buddy, you want to go? Next, Blue.
Ella cosecha patatas, azúcar y maíz y es buena en la escuela. Después va a América para estudiar más.
And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall, like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America.
Wangari termina sus estudios y regresa a Kenia. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Dónde están los árboles? ¿Dónde están los pájaros?
6 years later, her studies over, Wangari returns to her Kenya home and sees a change. What has happened, she wonders. Where are the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. And where are the birds?
Ella está triste. Kenia es un desierto. Wangari tiene la idea de plantar semillas.
Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert? She wonders as her tears fall. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings.
Nuestras vidas son mejores con los árboles. Las semillas son semillas de esperanza.
Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. In an open space, she plants row after row of tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see, we are planting seeds of hope.
Más mujeres empiezan a plantar árboles.
The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land.
Los hombres se rían de las mujeres, pero las mujeres sigan.
The government men laugh. Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings ever.
El pueblo de Wangari es verde de nuevo y otros pueblos empiezan a sembrar.
Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon, other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. I'll turn the page. Don't worry.
Pero sigan cortando árboles. Hungary protesta.
But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. I'll turn the page.
Wangari se termina firmando y protesta. Ella se sabe que necesitan los árboles.
The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still, she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. I'll turn the page.
Wangari no está sola. Toda África está hablando de los árboles.
But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spreads all over Africa like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were none. I'll turn the page.
Ahora Kenia es verde. Las mujeres están orgullosas.
The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home.
Ella ya no es un desierto. Gracias a las mujeres. Puedes cosechar las patatas, el azúcar y el maíz.
The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and her army of women who planted them.
Si visitas la montaña Kenia, puedes ver millones de árboles verdes.
And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see the million trees growing below you and the green Wangari brought back to Africa.
Kathryn Jordan. Is this working? Yes. And first, let's give Mario a hand, another hand. Mario, that's terrific. All that Spanish. So wonderful. It's a pleasure for me to introduce our assembly session titled, Here We Are, Now What? On behalf of FUS's Climate Action Team. We are the group that works to educate our congregation on climate issues. We host the annual Earth Day events. We organize climate action opportunities like planting trees or lobbying for bike racks. We coordinate the active voices with active voices to bring our perspectives to elected officials. We've also sponsored book groups to read climate-related literature. And today actually in the past, we've invited speakers on water issues from Sierra Club and Water Legacy. We are here facing 4 years of federal hostility.
to the ideas of addressing global climate change. From exiting the Paris Climate Accord, though a shout out to Michael Bloomberg, who's going to keep paying for it, to denying electric car subsidies, to pursuing more fossil fuel extraction. So where does that leave us, and what do we do now? The Climate Action Team has invited 2 speakers to join us to consider our options. Carolyn Ham of Third Act, Minnesota. It's a community of Minnesotans over age 60 united to create a sustainable future for our planet and safeguard our democracy. And Kathryn Ringham of Elder Climate Action, whose mission is to mobilize elders throughout the United States to address climate change while there is still time to protect the well-being of our grandchildren and future generations. I'm pleased to welcome them both to this multi-generational service, and there will be opportunities for all ages to participate. I want to say that Kathryn and I go back a long time. We're both trained by the Climate Reality group that Al Gore organized some years ago, and it's so good to have you here. Now I'm going to ask Azola Rosenfeld to introduce our ethical explorers. We've got 2 youth participants, and they will start us off.
Hi again. Thank you very much for coming today and for that wonderful introduction. I think the plan was we're going to sit on the steps. How do you guys feel? All right. So I'm very excited that we have the opportunity for the kids the youth of FUS to get to share some of their thoughts. And once again, I appreciate our E-Squared emissaries bravely coming up to chat about such an important topic in a setting that we're all present in of all ages. So we have a couple questions here that I think we decided you guys were going to split them. Was that the plan? Okay, no. Well, however we want to do it, however we would like to do it, and that plan is subject to change. But so I have just some questions here that we thought were good starting points for what is climate change? Why are we dealing with it? How does it make us feel? And then we're going to talk more about, as the questions continue, what do we do about it? So one of the first questions we have here is, what do you like about nature? Why is it important to take care of it?
I really like nature because it's just fun to hang out with it. It has a lot of activities you can do, like ice skating, climbing trees, and it's also very beautiful, and there's a lot of animals. And I think it's important to take care of it because we aren't the only people on this planet, or only things on this planet, and there's a lot of other things on this planet. We're actually here before us, so we need to take care of that and stuff.
I hear that. I hear that. Did you have a thought? No. Yeah, yes we do.
I really like climbing trees, and then also near the very start of summer when you wake up at 6 o'clock and there's sun outside.
Yes, we're missing that right about now, I think. I also realized if I did not introduce who's up here, I am so sorry. You want to say your name?
I'm Misha.
That's Misha.
I'm Ren.
That's Ren. Awesome. So how do you feel when you see trash on the ground or other pollution? And how do you think it even got there in the first place?
I think it's pretty annoying to just walk around and it's just random trash on the ground. It's just kind of annoying, and it kind of just ugh. Why is there trash on the ground? And it's just yeah.
Yes, I hear you. You have thoughts?
Yeah. It makes me feel really sad because that's kind of endangered our climate. And I also think it's got there, people could either threw it on the ground or it blew from trash cans.
Yes, and I'll add to that. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's big businesses that are adding to the litter that we see and the pollution that we encounter all the time, but definitely individuals as well. Got to make sure you're not just leaving your trash all over. All right, so we are going to continue with our discussion, but the kind of format I think we said is like there's going to be a little bit of back and forth. And so as you guys have further thoughts or comments or even more questions that come up, I think we will keep the mic here, and I'll just put it down, and then we can kind of keep... Oh, no?
We have to share.
Oh, apologies. I thought you had another one. Never mind. We're not going to keep the mic here. But we will be here, and the conversation will continue. Thank you, guys.
All right, excellent. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to again turn to Carolyn and Kathryn. And so could you please describe your organization briefly and its role in adapting to our climate warming emissions?
So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me here today. I was sharing with Rick earlier that as a child, I used to dance in the Unitarian Church in Madison, which is designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. So I kind of feel like I've come home here. So thank you. So Third Act was started by Bill McKibben. If any of you are familiar with him, he's a well-known, world-known climate activist. And he's really tapping into the energy of folks who are in the third act of their lives, i.e., us. And trying to bring the energy and the resources and the wisdom to the climate fight. Here in Minnesota, we have our Third Act Working Group, and we started in 2023. We have about 240 members now. Should have mentioned that nationally there's about 70,000 members, to give you a sense of the size of us. And we have three main campaigns that we are working on. One of them is to advance fossil-free finance, which is kind of a tongue twister, but what it means is we have to get the banks and the insurance companies out of the business of helping the fossil fuel industry. So we're bringing pressure on those entities, the banks, the insurance companies, the investment brokers, to stop giving the money to the fossil fuel industry. We also have our Power Up Communities campaign, which is really focused on our locally, statewide, in the Power Up or advocating at the Public Utilities Commission. So in case you don't know, the Public Utilities Commission is the state body that approves new energy projects, new transmission lines, unfortunately new pipelines, as well as electrical rates and that sort of thing. And so we believe that the public needs to be far more engaged at the Public Utilities Commission, especially to speed this transition to clean energy, because that is the exciting thing. We're going to talk about that. And so we need to be there present. So that's another campaign. Our third campaign, which is a little bit less right now, and you'll understand why, was both safeguarding democracy, still is safeguarding democracy, but was focused on the election. So we worked very hard, did not get the result we wanted. However, we did activate a lot of people, and we're excited to keep moving forward.
Thank you, Carolyn. Kathryn?
And I also thank you for the opportunity to be here, for the warm welcome. To join Carolyn, we call Third Act our demographic cousins. And your wonderful multi-generational community here today to share information and resources about the existential crisis that faces our planet, and we all know that is the climate crisis. And Kathryn did a good job of kind of setting the context, but this last week, as we all know, has been a little bit of a wind, particularly with the expected flurry of consequential executive orders by our new president. Our country appears to be beset by a polycrisis of ethical, legal, and spiritual issues, with a leader who is severely testing the bounds of his power and at times even the Constitution. In this decisive decade, it is discouraging and beyond disappointing that our current president believes the climate crisis is a hoax and a scam. Kathryn went over some of the changes that have happened this week, so I will skip those. But one of the things is that he might start to repeal the Inflation Reduction Act. And the fallout from all of these changes that are swift will be felt across the globe, in every corner of America, and here in Minnesota, where we have worked tirelessly to protect our communities and build pathways to a better future. So I suspect that me, along with many of you, are dazed, angry, and or heartsick. And what to do with these worries and fears in the face of these threats, and how to get past the fight, flight, and freeze reactions to this dramatic and confusing time. Well, one answer is to join climate organizations to enhance your individual efforts to the level of collective work to bring the me to the we of climate change. Elders Climate Action is a national organization founded in 2014 with a focus and a mission to encourage elders to inform, inspire, and engage others to take action on the climate crisis, the environmental challenge of our time. The mission of Elders Climate Action is to mobilize elders throughout the U.S. to address climate change while there is still time to protect the well-being of our grandchildren and future generations. Our elevator speech, a little shorter, is in the face of climate change, we empower older adults to be good ancestors, working together to preserve our beautiful earth for future generations. Few things that are embedded in our chapter. The first thing is that we are nonpartisan. Secondly, we were inspired by the question by Jonas Salk asked, are we being good ancestors? We believe that taking the long view, that is the seventh generation thinking, on issues adds values and wisdom. And beyond the words in the mission statement, we believe elders are in a good position to make a difference and transform climate fear into climate actions. Elders bring their voices, reflecting their life experiences, resources, their voting record, their civic engagement, and their time. As Laura Carstensen, Stanford Center on Longevity said, older adults are the only natural resource that is increasing on the planet. True. We want to focus on known solutions that are already here. Since we're the first generation to feel the effects of climate change, and given our age, are probably going to miss some of the worst results that are baked into the forecast. But we're working hard to leave a legacy of hope. We are not willing to put the burden on our children and especially our grandchildren to fix it. We believe that collective action is important to address the scale and the timetable that will be necessary. We partner readily with everyone, and we've done quite a few things with Third Act and plan to do more. And lastly, we support climate justice, youth initiatives, and the need to care for ourselves and one another. One of my favorite quotes is, I wouldn't change my grandchildren for the world, but I wish I could change the world for my grandchildren.
Thank you.
One more thing. Our local chapter began in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and like Third Act, we draw from our national base, but bring forward a Minnesota focus. Our chapter started with the intention of creating a friendly home base for meaningful individual and collective actions, and after 4 years, we have many moving parts. I'll just run through a few. We have engaging and motivating speakers at monthly meetings, a book club to sharpen our climate literacy, a monthly gathering to write postcards and advocate or send thanks, and bring topics and skills to write letters to the editor, a 5-part class on climate, understanding and acting on climate change. We have a brand new subgroup that's focusing on native and pollinator gardens. We have 4 working teams, which are our energy sources, and one of our newest traditions is giving out Good Ancestor Awards to community spirit people at our annual grandparent gathering in September.
Great. All right, thank you. I know our time is moving along here. Can you tell us what gives you hope at this moment regarding curbing the impact of climate change?
So we had to throw this in, right? After all that, we had to throw this in. And so I'm going to give you a lot of facts, which normally I would never do, but there's some really exciting facts that I think will lift your spirits. So what gives me hope is, first of all, people, right? All the people in this room, Wangari and all her fellow women, people give us hope. But I'm going to focus on economics, technological advances, and other governmental agencies, because the United States government is not the only player in the world. So first of all, the economics of solar energy will drive fossil fuel consumption down far more quickly than we ever imagined. The cost of solar panels has dropped 90% since 2009. Solar energy is now the cheapest form of energy, and that has led to its incredible growth. The Department of Energy predicts that U.S. solar energy will increase 75% between 2023 and 2025. So just to give you a sense of how fast this is happening, it is exciting. The world, driven by China, is installing a gigawatt of solar energy every day. And a gigawatt could power 750,000 houses, just to give you a sense of how solar is just exploding. Here's some examples of what's happening because of that. Diesel fuel demand in Pakistan has dropped 30%, due in part to people buying solar panels to power their homes and businesses rather than diesel generators, because the electricity is always going down. You got to have a diesel generator. No, now you can have you just buy one panel. You don't have to connect it to everybody. You buy one panel and you've got power. India is now the third largest generator of solar power in the world. Battery power capability is also growing, because that's what you always hear. Well, the sun doesn't shine. That's right, the sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day, and that's why we have batteries. California, which remember represents the 5th largest economy in the world, is now capable of producing more solar energy than the energy it needs on a regular basis. And then uses the battery power to help meet the demand. It will use 25% less natural gas than last year. Can you imagine a 25% drop in demand in 1 year? I mean, that is incredible. Then in terms of technology, we're looking at iron air batteries that may help. We're looking at hempcrete, which will be used, instead of concrete, you use hemp and you use less carbon. Also just want to point out, again, U.S. government's not the only entity, right? So in Minnesota, we are mandating that utilities use 100% clean energy by 2040. 23 other states have passed similar mandates. So all of the utilities in those states are going to have to be meeting that. There's international accountability. Europe is going to phase out new gas cars by 2035. And beginning this year, Europe is going to phase in requirements for large companies to disclose their emissions and those of their suppliers. And that's important because we got to make sure there's still pressure on those corporations to do the right thing, even if the federal government is not going to come through. I'm going to stop there, but I just want you to realize that this is exciting stuff. The economics cannot be reversed. It's the cheapest. Our mission is we just got to make it happen faster. It's going to happen quickly, but we need to make it happen even faster.
So I think you've already answered part of this, but given the federal stated intention to drill, baby, drill, is your focus changing?
Okay, yes. Yes, it is changing. But first of all, in terms of drill, baby, drill, it's important to acknowledge that the U.S. remains a petrostate. Under the Biden administration, oil and gas drilling hit record levels, while at the same time, they did a lot to protect other areas. And Trump's second term will inevitably slow the pace of U.S. climate action. We are in uncharted waters. But Gina McCarthy, former EPA administrator and manager of America's All In, said recently, no matter what Trump may say, the shift to clean energy is unstoppable and our country is not turning back. The underlying momentum, yay, yes, yes. The underlying momentum and progress made by the Inflation Reduction Act will continue to propel us forward. Even if the leadership is going the other way, America is still committed to a safe and prosperous future. We also know that lawyers will probably be very busy, so locally, I think supporting the MCEA, which is the Minnesota Center for Environmental Advocacy, will also be important. With our chapter in bandwidth, we're going to focus on a few things to go forward. The first is that we are going to continue to defend the work of the Inflation Reduction Act. It turns out that in Minnesota, there's already 340 projects that have been completed. 100% Minnesota has just released a report that's on their website that where you can go to an interactive map where they will explain exactly where these projects are and what they are doing. Minnesota has received $4 billion to work on these things, so that's pretty hopeful. Our chapter has always kind of felt that it's important to think globally but act locally, but we're suspecting that given the federal government, there will be more action at the state and local level. And we're anxious to begin wearing our new green vests. We have one in the audience. Thank you, Cass. To show up at the state capitol and in local meetings. We all feel lucky that we're very lucky to live in Minnesota, which has been a very progressive and above average state in terms of climate policy. Our chapter in the past has focused on a group called Praver Angels to encourage bipartisan discussion, and they give you the tools and the inspiration to do that, so we are planning to do more of that. And because of this high need for collaboration and consensus and compromise, I think our legislative team is going to be choosing things, bills that have a pragmatic and less dogmatic approach to maintain the momentum and getting more bipartisan support. It turns out that the Republicans actually do support next generation geothermal energy, so we see that going forward. Nuclear energy, stopping the moratorium in Minnesota, for example. Data centers, permitting reform, and cutting the endless red tape and environmental analyses to make them shorter is also recommended. We also see, as Carolyn, I think, mentioned, that there probably will be more effort coming from cities, states. There is an organization called America is All In that brought together tribal nations, businesses, that started in the first Trump administration, and that'll be resurrected. And then there's a group called Climate Mayors, and there's a whole slew of Minnesota mayors who are on this, have also played a crucial role to advance sustainable and better urban environments. So we can be hopeful about that. And then you mentioned about Bloomberg, so that's great. What Bloomberg said is philanthropy's role in driving local, state, and private sector action is more crucial than ever, and we're committed to leading the way.
So there's good news, and I'm afraid our time has run out. So the good news is that these two are going to join us after lunch for another, you'll hear about it, another workshop, so you can hear more and you can ask your questions. But I want to thank our ethical explorers, Zola, and Kathryn and Carolyn very much. Thank you.
It is so great to have Kathryn and Carolyn with us today, for all your wisdom and your knowledge and how passionate you are about this. And there's so much for us to learn. We could be here all day, but we won't today. We're going to sing a song, but in the interest of time, we're just going to sing one verse of Blue Boat Home. I know you love it. One verse today of Blue Boat Home. Please rise in body and or spirit to sing. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can sing.
Hello, I'm Bruce Nelson, and among other roles at FUS, I serve on your nominating committee. The nominating committee is tasked with recruiting aspiring FUS leaders for important roles in our 3 leadership teams, the Board of Trustees, the Foundation Board, and the nominating committee itself. In a moment, we'll see a video with Board of Trustees member Lisa Green speaking about why she joined the board and why you might also want to consider serving as a trustee. For the next few weeks, you will see me as well as fellow nominating committee members Julie Stewart, Caden Colton, Martha Hardesty, and Shelley Schreffler at a table in the gallery outside these doors before the assembly and downstairs during mini meals. We hope we will provide additional information about what it's like to serve in FUS leadership positions and answer your questions. We hope to see you there. And now, here's Lisa.
Hello everyone, my name is Lisa Green and I'm a member of the FUS Board of Trustees. I've been a member here at FUS for 27 years and have participated on various committees, but when I really learned how much this place means to me was during lockdown. I watched Assembly on YouTube every single Sunday. It grounded me and it connected me. About 8 months in, an email went out for us to send pictures of ourselves doing the stuff we were doing during lockdown. When the montage of those photos were streamed one Sunday, I saw people I hadn't seen for nearly a year. And I found that there were tears pouring down my face. And that's when I realized how much this community means to me. When we were able to return in person, I started showing up nearly every single Sunday. Last spring, when the nominating committee asked people to apply for a position on the board, I thought this was a way that I could become more involved and maybe my skills and perspectives would be useful. Now I'm asking you to consider applying to be on the board. Whether you're a new member or you've been here for more than 25 years, your skills and your perspective are valuable. You'll make new friends, deepen existing friendships, get to work with our amazing staff, and guide the future of FUS. If you're interested, please talk to a member of the nominating committee. Thank you.
Absolutely. Please follow through with that applause. That was fantastic, Lisa. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Karen Rowell. I serve on the seasonal celebrations team with Lisa, the mental health team, and am involved in several other groups, including the Foundation Board. The Foundation of FUS exists to support the Society with grants that can help with building repairs, social justice projects, and other special programs. But it's not able to cover the bulk of the Society's operating expenses. As treasurer of the Foundation of FUS, I bring you the good news that this community has given generously to the Fix the Bricks campaign. Donations and pledges have exceeded the $40,000 needed to match the anonymous donation received at the end of last year. We likely have the brick tuck pointing work covered, but frankly, there will always be a need for funds to support FUS when some other part of this old building breaks down. Right, Tim? You can still contribute to the Foundation Fix the Bricks campaign through January 31st. As members and friends of this free, independent, and self-governing humanist community, we share the gifts of our time and energy, our creativity, our imagination and vision, our talents, our skills, and our treasure. Your financial support of both the Foundation and the FUS General Operating Fund is an important element in turning our shared vision into reality. In this new year, we are reviving the practice of taking a collection every week during Sunday Assembly. As the baskets are passed, you are invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. You can use the QR code on the screen, which will take you to our online giving form, mail in your donation, or stop by the office to give or to ask any questions you have about giving to First Unitarian Society. Thank you for your generosity.
You know, I have some announcements, but I'm really not going to make them. Check your Friday update. There's a mini meal, then there's time with our guests after that. There's our first time with Out Front for the LGBTQ equity training, a multi-generational thing next Saturday. And I think we will just leave it at that and do our chalice extinguishing. Those will be our final words, followed by a postlude from our musical guest today. So here comes Sam. Great. Please join me in speaking the words on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.